everyone, it's Sharonda from Pay Your Weight, and today I'm going to be reviewing The Handmaid's Tale, Season 5, Episode 1, Morning. Praise be, y'all. We are here, finally, at Season 5 of The Handmaid's Tale. We have made it to yet another season, waiting for all of the foolishness to happen. I'm sorry I'm late with this review. I was actually in Toronto, ironically in Canada, for this past week, so I wasn't able to record and upload as I would want to, but you're getting this episode now. You get episode 2 tomorrow, so don't try to come for me in the comment section, okay? And I will go ahead and also do a review of Season 5, because I had the pleasure of getting the first 8 episodes of the season, so shout out to Hulu for hooking your girl up. But yeah. Let's get into this foolishness of episode 1, okay? So we see the episode kind of picks up where we left off in the shocking season 4 finale of when June and her homegirls, like the the Bastards posse, they basically beat the brakes off of Fred. And we're going to talk a little bit later on when we actually saw the reveal of Fred's body and what happened. They really did that. So we see that June goes back home. She's kind of in a trance for like a strong 20 to 30 minutes of this season premiere, and she's looking at her hands, she's looking at the blood, and then you hear All I Have to Do Is Dream by the Everly Brothers playing. They're always on point with the music with the show. And you know how you go into a trance, when you be thinking about, maybe some little good boom boom that you had, and you thinking to yourself, and you kind of playing everything back in your head. Well, June is playing back them beating the brakes up off of Fraggedy in her head, and the look that she has on her face, I literally be scared of June. And just like what Moira said, towards the end of the episode, when she was like, "Bish, I'm scared of you." I said, "Girl, I've been scared of her. You just now scared of her?" But she has this look on her face, and then she kind of looks back down, and then she turns the water off and picks up a towel. I said, if all the towels you're gonna pick your baby towel and wipe all that blood on the towel that they're not gonna be able to get out. And then she kind of sees that it's her daughter's towel, and then she goes to Nicole's room to pick her up. And I was just like, sis, we're not gonna wash our hands, we just gonna put your bloody hands on the baby. Had it make sense for me. But one of the things that I do love about this episode is, in my opinion, she's in a trance, right? She's lost herself because she has done the unthinkable. She's killed Fred. What she's been threatening to do for the past 4 seasons, she's actually been able to do it. But she doesn't like the person that she's become. And I think that's indicative to, what Commander Lawrence said when he was just if you do this, it's not going to be enough. And I feel like in her killing Fred, that she's actually lost a piece of her. Almost it's almost a little bit like if they... her killing Fred has allowed them to win, has allowed Gilead to win, of how they view June as a threat, and she's kind of proven them to be right. That's my own personal observation from it. But one of the things that I really love in this episode, and I think Elizabeth Moss does a really great job in directing this episode, is you have those moments of when Nicole is able to help calm June down. It's when she sees the blood on her hands and she sees the blood that she's wiped on Nicole's towel that she has to remind herself of what she's still fighting for. And you see this later when she goes to the lake and she thinks of Hannah, when she's trying to break herself up out of this, when she feels like she's completely lost who she is, it's her children that remind her of who she once was, of what she's fighting for, of why she needs to keep going. And I really love that we get to see these little moments of that happening. But I was still mad when she picked her up with them bloody hands. I said, since you could at least wash your hands. I don't even understand. But it is what it is. So, they go and they do little flashbacks of everything that happened. I was like, did June bite Fred's face? And honestly, after looking at Fred's body, I was like, are y'all cannibals? Because why was his flesh missing? Y'all was just biting chunks of flesh off of him. I just didn't understand this. But we see that Luke and Moira, she's about to leave. They looking stressed out. I truly hate how June stresses them out. And I'm happy that she is able to recognize that in this episode. And she kind of has conversations with them. I'm sorry, when she apologizes to Luke, I'm sorry for blowing your life up. Sorry that I'm like this. But she stays stressing them out. So she started going downstairs. They're following her. She then hopped into a car She like trying to go to the car, and then like Moira's trying to talk to her, like, what's going on? Like, whose blood is that? They keep asking her, like, whose blood is on you? And she was like, I did it, girl. Like, I killed him. And she was like, kill who, girl? They didn't say it like that, but I'm just saying. And then she was like, I killed Fred. I finally did it. And I was like, I mean, you did finally do it. You've been saying it for a long time, sis. So I'm kind of happy for you. I don't condone violence, okay? But if it's Fraggity's violence against Fraggity, I'm here for it. But I like when she says, like, by her effing hand. I love how they kind of use these sayings of Gilead, kind of when they're kind of murking some of them. I'm just saying, but it really gave, like, I was like, yes, girl, by her effing hand. Take your power back, June, okay? But we see then that we go to Gilead. And it really does make me sad when you see Moira and Luke in the driveway as she drives out, because she truly tortures the hell out of them. But we go to Gilead and we see Nick and his wife. I actually don't mind his wife. She cool. Like, I feel like Nick told her everything that happened, because she was asking about, like, you know, did it finally happen? How is she? Like, I'm happy that you were able to see her. I'm praying for her. I said, sis, you better pray for the other woman, but really she the other woman. So you better pray for his main chick. Like, you better pray for her. But we see that even Nick kind of looks troubled by what's happened, because I think he's maybe more so worried about how this is going to impact her now. What are the consequences going to necessarily be now that she has actually killed Fraggity? So we see that we cut to... Actually, no, because there is something that she said, like, I hope that she's able to find peace after this. And I was like, there's no peace to be found. Like, you taking his life, it doesn't undo the damage that they've already done to you. Like, look, at this point, what Serena and Fred has done to her has literally driven her to be a murderer. So there's no peace that you can actually get from that. You might feel better because you got to kill your abuser, but it still doesn't take away all the things that they have actually done to you. So I think it's so weird that everyone keeps saying, like, oh, I hope she finds peace. I'm glad she was able to finally get rid of him. But that doesn't take it away. And I think that June's starting to realize that. And I think that what Commander Lawrence said to her is starting to ring true for her. So we see that Serena, she doing her little pregnancy yoga. Every time I see her, I just be like, oh, I hate this hoe, but it is what it is. So she's doing her little yoga, and then the ICC, the soldiers, whatever you call them, they just bust in like, hey sis, it's time to go. And she was like, I'm sorry, who are you? Where is Mr. Tuello? She said, girl, it's time to go. I don't care who these people are. I'm just telling you the orders that I had to do. It's time to go. So either you can come or I can forcibly remove you, but you finna leave, so it don't matter. Child, they take her out. They didn't even let her put no shoes on. Y'all just got Serena walking barefoot, because I know y'all floor is probably dirty. She's walking barefoot, and then she runs into the senior director of the ICC, and she basically tells her, like, sis, you're not gonna like this, but your husband dead, okay? And because he's dead, I know you raggedy, they probably gonna come after you now too, whoever did this. So we need to get you and your baby somewhere safe until we can figure out what the heck has happened. So she looking shook. I'm just laughing because I'm like, he finally dead. I hope she gets you next. But she in the elevator, and then she started crying. I said, you know what? And the Academy Award goes too. I said, Serena, now why are you crying about Fred being dead? Because last time I checked, you didn't want nothing to do with him. You was over him. So now all of a sudden are you upset? And I know y'all finna be like, Sharana, she still loves him. That was her husband. That's the father of her unborn child. I said, I wouldn't want my baby to have him as a father anyway. So I'm like, good riddance. But I was just like, these little crocodile tears that she got going down her face. I was like, the audacity and the nerve of her to really be acting like she's truly affected about Fred being dead. I hope that it was really more so she like, I know these hoes gonna come after me next because I ain't no better than Fred in the first place. But we see that June ends up going to a diner with her, you know, jumping the bastards posse, and she still got this blood on her. And I'm just like, okay, sis, like, we just not gonna wipe the blood off of our face, off our necks, our hands. And then they like hand her some food. And I was just like, not her eating like this, talking like she eating like she famished from beating Fred's behind the entire time. But then when they said nothing tastes better, everything tastes better now that Fred's dead. I said, oh my goodness, y'all are really ruthless. But they was tearing that food up, and them pancakes didn't look that good for them to be eating like that. But it is what it is. So it's interesting because we see that they do like a little cut shot to when they're kind of talking about what happened, and we kind of see the wall where they were hanging people, and we see the picture of this handmaid with a bucket, and we see them sweep the blood off the floors. Like the visuals in this episode, I mean, they always look fantastic. It's just the use of color that they have on a very plain backdrop. You know, I thought it looked really nice. But this came back to my biggest issue with June and her being selfish. So after they eat, now that they're famished from beating Fred's ass, they basically say like, okay, girl, so what's next? Like, who we finna kill next? Because I got a mistress that I definitely would love to kill right now. And June's looking at them like, sis, what you talking about? We was only supposed to kill Fred. Like, I'm not gonna kill nobody else. And she was like, but sis, you can tell Nick to like bring some people over. And they was like, Vicky was like, but girl, who's finna bring a wife to the border? Like, think for a moment, because you're not even making sense. But then they were like, okay, well, we can sneak into Gilead and kill them. And I was just like, all these ideas sound like bad ones. But I do like that they kind of called June out on the hypocrisy behind it. Because she looking at them like, that's dumb what y'all trying to do. But it was like, but sis, we helped you kill Fred. So it's like, you thought that it was just going to stop with him. Like, now that you've gotten your vengeance, that what about us? You thought we was just helping you out of the kindness of our heart? No, ho, we was helping you so you can get yours. So then you would help us kill our monsters. And that's the thing. Like, we kind of looked at Gilead and we looked at this series through June's eyes and about her story and having that satisfaction of her being able to kill Fred. But there's so many other women's stories that we didn't get to see. And so with them being like, we helped you kill this person who has tormented you, and you won't even do the same for us. And I like that they call her a coward. Even though she's right, like, this is a very dumb idea. And the whole thing with Fred was dumb too. But how dare you? And I like that someone actually called June out on her selfishness, because you know I say every single season on how selfish June actually is. But I was very confused when Vicky just started the like boop, boop, boop. That's not the gunshots, but just imagine that was gunshots. When she did that, I said, Vicky, sis, what are you doing? Somebody go take Vicky's gun, because I'm just confused why y'all started smuggling guns in the first place. Vicky, stop! So everybody drives off, and then June ends up going to, actually, no. Let's cut to Mr. Tuello. Okay, so Mr. Tuello, Raggedy Behind, goes to see Serena. And basically, she asks to see her husband's body. And he tells her about the prisoner exchange because, you know, she didn't know that he made a deal with Gilead. And so he tells her about the prisoner exchange. And she gets upset. But he says, I don't know what happened after the exchange. I didn't have anything to do with it. We don't know who actually has something to do with it. But the thing that bothers me about them is that the sexual tension that they have amongst each other, it's just off the charts. And I really be like, why don't y'all just go to a room and blow each other's backs out? Because clearly that's what you both want to do. But what makes me upset is that he acts like she's this battered woman that like Fred made her do these things. And I'm like, she is literally one of the people who came up with this whole thing about Gilead and women submitting themselves to their husbands. So I just don't understand what he sees in her. But you know what? He's not going to stress me out. He's not going to stress me out. So then he gives her Fred's wedding ring. And he was like, I was like, Juno, she disrespectful as hell for sending Serena this wedding ring. And he was like, it was attached to a finger too. And then she was like, what finger? And then he showed her this picture of Fred's little feet dangling. And with the thing like, the Latin version of don't let the bastards grind you down. And she was like, it was that raggedy beast June. And then Tuello was like, no. And then she was like, you don't know what she's capable of. And I was like, hell yeah, it was June. I don't even know why Mr. Tuello was even like tripping, not trying to figure out what the hell happened in the first place. But I'm sorry. It is funny that like Tuello is just blinded. It's almost like I almost feel like he doesn't see what women can actually be capable of, because the fact that he never thought that June would kill Fraggedy, or the fact that Serena ain't ish, I don't understand how he doesn't realize that. But what I did think was an interesting choice is how they decided to handle Alexis's, who portrays Emily, her departure from the season. Basically, she goes to see Emily, I'm assuming, telling her what happened. And then she finds out from Emily's partner that Emily left. She went back to Gilead. And you know, she couldn't comprehend like why she would want to do something like this. But it seems that she was kind of shaken up by actually hearing that news. But we see that she ends up going to a bathroom, and now she decides that she wants to wash the blood off of her. And I think it's at this moment, like after having that conversation about Emily going to Gilead, I feel like she's starting to snap out of her trance. This is why she tries to wash all of the blood up off of her, even though I was just like, it took this long into the episode for you to decide that you needed to do that. But you know what? To each his own. I didn't understand it. But then she goes to a lake and she continues wiping her face. I think her trying to come back to reality. And this is when we see her have the thoughts of like Hannah when she's a kid, or Hannah when she was seeing her in Gilead. This is like a way of her trying to come back to reality, this use of the thoughts of her children. But she ends up going to turn herself in for killing Fred, and then Luke finds her, and this is when she apologizes for like blowing his life up, and, you know, kind of ruining everything that they had going for them now that they were kind of together and somewhat like a family unit. And we see that Luke is trying to reassure her. And I think that Luke also has like a blind eye to what June is actually capable of, or maybe it's him feeling guilty for not being able to save June and Hannah, and the fact that she is the way that she is now. And she tries to tell him like, look, like this is just not going to work. And he was like, it's okay. Like, don't worry about it. I understand. And then she was like, but you didn't see what we did to him. Like, you don't understand. You didn't see what we did to him. And I was like, no, for real, Luke, like they really beat the brakes up off of Fraggedy. Like, you really didn't see what she did, but it wasn't even necessarily what they did. It was the fact that she actually enjoyed it, that she had enjoyment and pleasure from beating Fred to death and literally like biting everything else, you know, biting. I was like, she put his face, like you saw chunks of his leg missing. I just didn't understand. But then he realizes that she's there to turn herself in. She wants to turn herself in, and she tells them what happens. She takes the full rap for it. She doesn't want the other women to be in trouble for it. But let me tell you something, what I was not ready for. Let me see what I wasn't ready for. This girl got away with the whole thing. I said, what in the white privilege is going on right now? Okay? How you murder somebody and get away with it? How? I just didn't understand. So basically they were like, hey sis, the Crown not worried about it because it wasn't on Canadian Soul, so the Crown ain't got nothing to do with this. So, I mean, I guess this your get out of jail free card because you free to go home. And June looking like, huh? And I'm like, Monica, huh? What is happening right now? She was like, sis, it ain't got nothing to do with us. Like, you Gucci. It was in no man's land. I don't have any jurisdiction over that. So you can go home. And then the girl comes like, well, actually, there's the issue of the finger. They told her she had to pay an $88 fine for sending a biohazardous object to the ICC. I said, my girl murdered a man, okay? Murdered a man, mutilated his body, and all she had to do was pay $88. And that was because she wanted to be petty and send the finger to Serena. I'm done. She was just sitting there like, damn ho, I thought I was gonna go to jail. Like, what's going on? And I think that June really did want to be punished. I felt like she wanted to be punished for what she did. I felt like that was the only way she felt like she would have peace. But no, they sent her on her way. Even Luke was looking like, what? Like, you back? I know Luke tired. I know Luke and Moore, they are just tired. I can't do it. But yeah, she just tell him like, yes, I got to pay $88. I got $99 problems, but an $88 fine ain't one. Okay, so Serena ends up going to see Fraggety's body, and basically Mr. Tuello tells her like, hey girl, she got off, okay? And this is the part where I got lost, okay? Because she was like really going on and on, like, I'm not safe, you don't know what she's capable of. But I was like, sis, do you remember what you were capable of? Like, this is the thing that upsets me about Serena. You sitting up here trying to be a victim, but you don't understand that you were a monster and an abuser. You don't want to think about what were the actions that I had to play into turning June into what she is today. Why am I afraid for my life? Oh, because I know I was a raggedy bitch who was literally torturing this woman, raping her, stealing her children from her, like, for years. So I'm just really confused why Serena be trying to play this, like, good girl act and the Tuello be falling for it and be making me so upset. Okay, but then she was like, look what she's capable of. She all dramatic, she ripped the shit out, and I was like, nah, I ain't gonna lie. They are fred up. I said fraggedy. They tore you up, baby, from the floor up, from the head to toe. They tore fraggedy all the way up, and I was here for it. But when she goes outside, it really upset me. When there is this visual of people and the girl's like, we're praying for your husband. I said, sis, what you praying for? That he don't go to hell where he belongs? He dead. What you praying for? He's dead and he deserves to burn in hell. Okay. Just, girl, chill out. Like, they really be stressing me out, y'all. They be stressing me out. Oh, they be stressing me out. So then she sees this visual of people and the women, and like, you know, Serena loves the audience and she loves to feel loved by the people. So then they start playing the little hero music, like when you're making a speech. She was like, I'm taking my husband home. I'm taking him back to where he belongs. The Waterford name means something. I said, girl, if you don't sit your raggedy ass down, I'm so tired of hearing you talk this whole episode. I'm tired of her. She needs to be dead by the end of this season, okay? That's all I gotta say. Dead by the end of the season, period. So she basically say, I want you to tell them I need to take my husband home back to Gilead. So I don't know what the hell is going to be happening for, but I know if Mr. Tuello involved, his dumb behind going to fall for her antics. So it is what it is. But we see that June and Luke, they go home. Moira looking like, why is she in this house? Like, she's a psychopath at this point. And Luke is like, she's fine. She's fine. She's fine. She's here. We're here with Nicole. And we're going to drink some wine. And we're going to celebrate to that. And I'm just like, Luke, honey, you're so delusional. Like, you really need to see June. She's trying to show you who she is, sweetie. And you're just not trying to see it, all right? So they have a conversation. And basically, Moira, you know, she was like, oh, like, can I give Nicole a bath? And I said, baby, if it were up to me, you wouldn't be allowed in the same house as Nicole, okay? Because I don't know I don't know what else you would do. And Moira's like, honey, no, I'm scared of you. And she was like, yeah, like, I'd be scared of me too, like, but I'm scared of what you would do to Nicole, honey. Like, I don't think you're comprehending. I don't think you're understanding the words that are coming out of my mouth. I'm truly terrified of you, okay? And so, like, June's back in her little weird zone for a moment, and we see that Tuello comes, and he basically talks to June and tells her, you know, like, he knows what happened. And she asks him, like, what happened when Serena found out, and he said she's scared. And he was like, I even think that you scared Gilead as well. And he talks about how, what did he say to her? He said, scared can be dangerous. And then June was like, but B, she's always going to be dangerous. Like, what you seen him talking about, she's scared now, like, I'm supposed to feel a certain way about it. She should be scared, okay? She lucky I don't come for her behind right now. That's what she should have been saying to Mr. Tuello. But I know June was battling her own demons. But that's what she should have said. Because he really be killing me. Ugh. She's scared. Boy, if you don't have a seat, my goodness. So then he tells her that, well done. She did something terrible, but it needed to be done. He understands the cost of what that's, because it takes a piece of you murdering somebody. Look at me saying that like I didn't murder somebody. I ain't murdered nobody but some food on my plate, okay? But yeah, I would assume that it would take a lot away from you to take another person's life. And he tells her that, I like that he says, may he rot in hell. And then she said, praise be. And then he tells her, like, don't let the bastards grind you down, which kind of brings a smile to her face and reminiscent to what Fraggedy said to her and what she wrote on the wall after she killed Fraggedy. But we see she goes back into the house, and Luke just be so trusting of June, talking about, oh, do you want to see mommy? You want mommy to give you a bath? No, I don't. Like, Luke, why? Do you not? whatever. But it is a beautiful moment that happens when she pulls Nicole out of the bathtub, because I don't know what Moira and Luke was doing, but baby, Miss Nicole was not having it, because she was screaming, fighting for her life. And then when June comes and she picks her up and holds her, we see that Nicole instantly calms down, and you know, she was like, you don't want to have to take a bath if you don't want to, and I'm gonna bathe you in kisses. I thought it was super cute. Once again, like, June seeing her children is what calms her, what brings her back to earth, what makes her feel like herself. And I thought it was a beautiful shot zooming out of her holding Nicole at the end of the episode. I thought that was super, super beautiful. And Elizabeth Moss like did her thing with directing this episode. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I was really shocked. I did not see June getting away with this at all. And I just love that even though we had this big like climax of Fraggedy dying, that they're still finding ways to keep the show interesting, to keep us engaged. And with this new development, like, is she going to turn for Serena next? Like, what's going to happen? How is she going to unpack all of this? How is Serena going to respond? Because Serena ain't ish, so you know the girl got evil in her heart, okay? So she comes from the pits of hell. That's where she was born. That's the only way I can justify what she's been doing. So I'm very interested to see how they're going to play the rest of the season out. But I know that everybody is going to be in for a great ride. And I thought this was a really great premiere episode. Like, it still brought you back to those same emotions that you were feeling while you were watching the season 4 finale. So I really enjoyed episode 1. So those are my thoughts on the Handmaid's Tale season 5, episode 1, Morning. As always, my name is Serena from Payroll Waits, and if you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit the notification bell. And I love you guys 3000. And until I see you again,